crossing Maybank Highway as we speak. From tornadoes that formed one night in September 2015, and they certainly get that. So, and in fact, that on the last scan, this rotation is starting to intensify right over Marianne Point Road. So again, if you're on Marianne Point Road, Chisholm Road, we need you in shelter now. So Chisholm Road, Johns Island, take shelter now. This is starting to tighten back up. We'll look at the storm relative velocity, and what I might do is, again, this is looking reasonably tight. This is looking a little more broad towards Ravenel and Hollywood, but we still need everybody in Ravenel and Hollywood to be taking shelter. It looks like that the tightest circulation is now. It's just crossed Maybank Highway. It is at Marianne Point Road. It's headed towards Chisholm Road on Johns Island, and eventually headed towards Dixie Plantation Road. So if you're on Dixie Plantation Road, train versus tree on Otrano Road. Holy cow! Wow, that's crazy. All right, so that's dispatch reports there. Again, that's in North Charleston. So we need to take cover now. Eventually, this is going to get towards 162. This is going to get towards Highway 162, roughly around just south of Highway 17. Dixie Plantation Road, you're next. We need you in Dixie Plantation Road to take shelter. Anybody in Hollywood. If you're in Hollywood, you have a Hollywood address, you should take tornado precautions now. Lowest floor, interior room, abandoned mobile homes. Put as many walls between you and the tornado as possible. Again, the velocities here, they may not be the most impressive things you'll ever see, but these things can spin up very fast. The radar is getting us new data every 90 seconds, which is great. The Weather Service has made some really great upgrades to the NextRad over the years, and one of the things we can do is we get radar updates very, very fast. But they can still spin up and spin down in that time period. So again, reports of power outages, reports of, a lot of flooding to be sure, but the main concern at the moment right now are these two tornado warnings for much of Charleston County west of West Ashley. So again, this is roughly Red Top West. Hunt Club, you're in the polygon. I keep an eye on this. Just make sure that you have a safe place to go. Most of Johns Island will be in the clear momentarily, so we'll be able to call an all clear for them shortly. We've had a 51 knot gust at Charleston Exec Airport. So, again, we have, it's been rather, sometimes you just got to catch your breath. This is one of those times. It's been a day, put it mildly. All right. So again, we have two rotating supercells, one near Hollywood and one on the north side of Johns Island, about to cross Dixie Plantation Road, Chisholm Road. Let's go to the rotation product here. It looks like we have a little bit of a lag here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to switch to the level 3 radar, and I'm going to restart the other one. Oops. Okay, let's go to radar scope. Sorry about that, y'all. And we will do radar scope instead. Give me just a second to reset here, folks. All right, so we're on radar scope now, and as we, I'm going to give this VM a minute to restart. And all right, so radar scope. One of the downsides is that the storm relative product isn't very good, so we're going to be flying a little harder. But here's your broad rotation near Hollywood. Rotation is starting to look a little less defined towards Johns Island, so that's a good sign. We may be able to call all clear for you momentarily there. We still have plenty of strong winds and heavy rain to come ashore now at Charleston, and so we've got to watch this very closely. So Hollywood and Megget right now, Hollywood, Ravenel, and Megget, this is where it looks like your strongest rotation is. Let's see if we can capture this on the storm relative product. It is pretty low resolution. So again, this is kind of hard to tell, but there's your outbounds and there's your inbounds. Actually really broad, and this is actually more all around here. And again, this is a very low resolution thing. So again, if you have updates off of Chisholm Road, if you have updates off of Dixie Plantation Road, I'd love to hear them. Carolina Bay, you are in the clear. Most of Johns Island, you're in the clear. Just a few more minutes as this rotation crosses the intercoastal. Now, looks like I picked the wrong week to quit Mountain Dew. So once again, we have as we look at different. As I'm looking at a constant feed of different radar sources here to make sure that we're getting you the best information I can. Very heavy rainfall over Ravenel and Hollywood as the potential circulation, and we have a new velocity cut. So let's see if it's a little clearer. So again, if we have anything in here, it's going to be. God, that's so hard to tell. It's going to be right in here. So if there is anything in there, it'd be roughly right around Ravenel and Hollywood right now. So again, stay in your tornado shelter for a few more minutes. Johns Island, I think we're close to calling you clear for at least a little while. It's going to be one of those days where we may be calling you off and on. Another part of note that I want to note now, this isn't warned yet, but this is north of Mount Pleasant around Cainhoy and Wando. It looks like there's a little rotation trying to get started up here. This came in offshore at the top of the rain band. So, once again, this is headed towards Park Circle in North Charleston. Again, no formal warning on this, but it's something I'm going to keep an eye on, as if it does start rotating, that could be a problem. And we could, if it does intensify, another tornado warning will be needed. So we'll have to watch that closely. All right, let's see if my analyst is back up yet. Nothing yet, so it's taking a while. My machine is understandably unhappy. All right, so this is an update to the tornado warning. The tornado warning continues until 2:15 for portions of Dorchester and Charleston counties. And let me get the text out on this, and we'll just talk it through real quick. So we have a tornado. We have a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado 9 miles southwest of Middleton Place, moving northwest at 65 miles an hour. Middleton Place, we're going to need you to take cover. So we're going to say here, Johns Island. So the good news is I'm hearing from a couple people in Chisholm, and they said that there's nothing going on. So that's a great sign, that is a really good thing. However, we are going to need so again, we're going to recommend that people near Middleton Place seek tornado shelter. And we have a 60-mile-an-hour gust at the Charleston Airport now at 105. So again, that's the top gust here. Pretty busy, to put it lightly. And we don't have the analysts back, so what we're going to do, the GIS stuff is not as good in radar scope, but we're going to do our best. So a couple things here is we have. All right, so Magwood Drive in West Ashley is about to flood. So again, we have multiple threats here. We have storm surge. Apparently a boat broke loose. The Folly boat has... Oh, wow, what? The Folly boat has broken loose. Oh my goodness. So I'm seeing a report here that the Folly boat has broken loose. Really? Well, let's check this out real quick, and if it's real, I'll put it up. Certainly something that is a concern. A boat at Folly has broken loose. Maybe not the Folly boat. Man, this is crazy. So anyway, so again, Milton Place takes shelter from a tornado. Possible tornado. We don't have any reports or sightings just yet, but if we do, we'll let you know. And again, tornado warnings continue. James Island, Johns Island, you're pretty much all clear. All right. So again, right now, I mean, it looks a little sheared, but we have a couple areas of rotation about to cross the Dorchester-Charleston line once again. And meanwhile, further, further west, what I'm going to do, let me take the precipitation full. We'll go back to the velocity in a minute. Go further west here, and again, and I'll switch out to the base reflectivity so you guys can see everything. We can see that we have a lot of water starting to come ashore here. And this is becoming a very, very concerning situation. We've already had record tides, top 3 tides on record at downtown Charleston, and now we're getting significant rainfall moving in. And there's going to be a break in the band, and then there's going to be another round. And so we have flooding, we have all sorts of issues here. Lots of power outages being reported. And it's certainly a situation that we're going to need to keep watch on closely. But right now, as we turn the super resolution back on, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull the plug on this VM and restart it. So it's going to be a few more minutes before I'm up with the good radar, the big radar. But radar scope is going to do the job for us. Low tide, not for a while. I want to clarify for people watching the feed, the thing that the National Weather Service is issuing continuation and update statements for the tornadoes, but there are currently no new tornado warnings beyond the 2 that we have on the board. So I want to make sure that everybody is clear on that. That tornado warnings are in effect for much of western part of Charleston County, again, including Ravenel and Hollywood, but we should be starting to see this calm down there a little bit. This is heading, this is moving northeast very fast, or northwest very fast at 60 miles an hour. So again, once again, setting this into motion. This is south of Somerville. This is south of the Charleston Metro. This is not in West Ashley. This is not in those locations, but if you did receive a wireless emergency alert for this warning, please do take it seriously. All right. And so you can see we're going to start catching, it looks like we're going to catch a little bit of a break here shortly in Ravenel and Hollywood. Once I get my other GIS set up, I think we can pretty safely say that it's about to be all clear here in those locations, which is good. We still have the tornado threat is still very sheared looking rotation here, so we'll see if this even continues. Tornado warning continues for Ravenel. It looks like the tornado warning is going to expire in Ravenel and Hollywood in a few minutes, so that's a good sign. If there's anything going on, God, it's really hard to tell, but if there's anything going on, it may be right here. And we have a little bit of a notch here. This is north of Ravenel, and this is moving, this is going to cross 165, and this is going to head towards 17A. So if this does persist. Now again, as I mentioned before, as I mentioned earlier, the risk for tornadoes is going to spread inland with time, and it appears to be doing so. Where temperatures are now starting to get into the 70s. We're starting to see dew points get into the 70s further inland in Somerville and Moncks Corner. So again, the tornado threat, which has been limited to the coast, is starting to move inland a little bit more. A tornado watch is in effect until 10 p.m. and we'll need to keep a very close eye on things as the situation continues to present itself. Now we got to look further down the line here. We have special marine warnings on the Charleston offshore waters here, and again, you know, there's still some small embedded rotations showing themselves here, and those could continue to move ashore and give an additional tornado threat closer to Folly Beach, closer to closer to the metro area, and then eventually this tornado threat is going to start shifting over Sullivan's and Isle of Palms and into Mount Pleasant. So again, we've got we got a little ways to go here, folks, and it's going to be a few more hours before things really start to calm down. Another thing that we need to watch is that there could be embedded tornadoes in this second band rather. Here's an area of rotation right here, taking aim on Beaufort County. So again, this is not over yet. There could be a second area of rotation showing up well offshore, and we'll put some mileage on that. Here's the Beaufort County coast. That's about 15 miles from the Beaufort County coast. And the second area of rotation is roughly 49 miles from the coast. So again, that will be here. That will arrive at the coast within about an hour. This will arrive on the coast in the next 15 minutes. And winds are. We have several trees down. We have several closures due to trees down. Some places include the Highway 52 connector, rivers at Durant, Crawford and O'Hare, Bexley and O'Hare, Leeds at 526 eastbound, Cosgrove and Azalea, and Clements Avenue at Cody Street. This is North Charleston. Routes I take every day to get down to work, and so these are places that are closed right now. So again, if you don't need to be on the roads, please just stay off the roads. First responders need to run on the roads to get around and do what they need to do. And I'm going to strongly recommend that people stay off the roads and just wait this one out inside until we can start to get some sanity out here. The painted boat has broken off. Oh my goodness. All right, I'm going to take Twitter full here. I want to show this to you. We're going to get back to the tornado situation in a second. And right now, I think we can safely say that in Ravenel, you are all clear. Ravenel, Hollywood, Megget, you are all clear. All right, and the first tornado warning has dropped, so that's good. So all clear is good there. But we're going to the Folly boat has the Folly boat has broken off. The Folly boat is floating freely. It's brushed up against a dock. I'm gonna put that on Twitter here in just a second. Let me get Twitter out. And yeah, once again, I want to say that yeah, the Folly boat has broken off. Wow. This is every year I have a craziest event I've ever covered, and I think this is taking the cake. But anyway, I got the radar up still. We'll keep this we'll keep this running here. We still have a tornado warning in effect for a few more minutes, about 13 more minutes. But it looks like that the risk of tornadoes is ending along Red Top in that area. So Red Top around Delamar Highway. Looks like your tornado threat is ending. We should be able to get so all clear there. And again, we're dealing with a lot of very strong winds, and Shadow Moss is looking good, as far as severe weather goes. But again, we have a very serious flood threat evolving here. We have, rumors. Tornado warning has been canceled. All right. Finally, some good news. The tornado warning has been canceled. So we are done with tornado warnings for now. So again, the tornado warning has been canceled. But I want to get this. I want to get this up. I want to get this this shot of the Folly boat up if I can get it. And yeah, here it is. All right, so this is courtesy of Christopher Grimm. And tree down, West Ashley, Wapu Road and Harrison Road. So again, so we've had a request to know this is the actual time. So the actual time right now is 2:17. All tornado warnings have been cleared from the board. There are no active tornado warnings, and that is a good thing. Let me get this picture up here. So this is Christopher Grimm, and the painted Folly boat has broken off and is in somebody's dock. So this is about to come up now. Maybe this is going to come up now. Looks like it's not. Having some problems getting this up on the screen here. Roads near College of Charleston and the Citadel, you have to assume that they're flooded at this point. I don't have any specific reports. I need to go back and look. But I know that Smith Street has got problems. Ogier is in big trouble. Calhoun is in big trouble. We still have a 9-foot tide in the harbor. The tide continues to be around 9.58 feet in the harbor. This is not going anywhere anytime soon either. This is going to gradually move out. This is a situation where we have significant flooding. And I do not know why I'm not getting Chrome up here, but that's disappointing. Anyway, I retweeted it on CHSWX. I strongly recommend you look for it. Let me see one more time if I can get Chrome up. And it looks like my encoding is overloaded a little bit, so I might tweak my broadcast settings. Anyway, but for now, again, we are currently in the clear from the tornado warnings. Something tells me if I turn my stream off, that will change. So we're going to hang on here for a few more minutes. There are a couple suspicious-looking cells of note. Here's one southwest of Folly Beach, right here. Here's another that looks a little questionable right at the beach. You know, and again, we have rotating cells coming in off the second band now. So again, the main band is moving through Charleston right now. There's still some areas of rotation showing up off the second band that we're going to need to watch as they approach Beaufort County, Edisto Beach, those areas. And you know, we've got a report of Huguenot Avenue and Garden Corner is underwater in West Ashley. So again, this flood threat is extending well into West Ashley at this point. We're going to need people to be in their safe spots and stay off the roads to help the first responders get through. So again, I want to see what happens. There's a cell that is showing up near get pretty close to Folly Beach. This is roughly within 17 miles of Folly Beach, and so what that is going to do. Alright, so again, I want to make sure that everybody knows no active tornado warnings, but we're still watching this closely. And I'm going to retweet a few of these things here. So again, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to keep this stream pretty close by. I'm going to go ahead and stop broadcasting at this point. And we're going to once again attempt to give my voice a break, but watching this storm very closely off of Folly Beach, and we're gonna want to watch this carefully as it's kind of got that look, but the velocity signature it's kind of muddled right now in the purple haze, so to speak. So again, I'm going to watch that carefully. We're getting range folded right now there. So. All right, folks. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and we'll once again pull off of the broadcast for now. I'm going to get a few things restarted, and hopefully I won't have to be on. Maybe third time's a charm. But anyway, I'm Jared Smith at CHSWX and Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Into Facebook,
ring if someone were to drive around a barricade. Those barricades are there for a reason. And as the governor mentioned earlier, please do not drive in standing water or in flooded areas. We don't know what's under those flooded areas. And again, I think our meteorologist he highlighted the importance of turn around, don't drown, because we never know what's under that standing water. Thank you, Governor.
Thank you, sir. Emily Farr, Labor License and Regulation.
Thank you, Governor.
Yes, ma'am.
South Carolina has a well-trained and very competent fire and rescue community, and thus far they have been able to handle the weather conditions and the flooding in their local areas. That being said, State Fire continues to stand ready to provide resources that may be needed as we move into the late afternoon and this evening. Firefighter mobilization is fully staffed and ready to respond to any requests. Mobilization coordinates to move search and rescue, firefighting, and other first responder personnel and resources needed throughout the state to provide backup and support to the local areas if they need additional assistance. So mobilization is ready to do that as may be needed as the day progresses. At the Fire Academy here in Columbia, we do have 2 crews of rescue swimmers who are ready to work with the National Guard for any South Carolina HART missions. That's the Helicopter Aquatic Rescue Teams missions once the winds die down if that's necessary, or they're also ready to mobilize on the ground for boat rescues as well. As we have power outages continue throughout the state, I'll turn over to the State Fire Marshal, Chief Jonathan Jones, to provide some very important safety tips for the public. Jonathan.
Fire Marshal.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Always ensure that if you're using a generator in a power outage that the exhaust is directed away from openings in your house, such as doors or windows. Please never run a generator inside your home or in garages. Never use outdoor grills indoors, and if possible, use battery-powered auxiliary lighting instead of candles. But if you must use candles, please make sure that you never leave a candle unattended. Make sure that you use appropriate and sturdy candle holders. Extinguish candles before you go to bed, and please make sure that you keep candles away from other combustible materials. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Alvin Taylor, Department of Natural Resources.
Thank you, Governor.
Yes, sir.
Department of Resources officers are embedded along the coast now, ready to respond to any missions, life-saving missions that we may be there. We are currently patrolling, or will be patrolling, the Barrier Islands by water. We know we've had some flooding conditions, and we're in contact with local EOCs and emergency personnel to respond to those as needed. So we're ready to go. We're in place. We would ask, it's not too early, I don't think, to ask our boaters that when the storm subsides and it's clear again to stay off the water, because we've seen there have been docks damaged and there'll be vessels that are underwater, and that's just another hazard. Also, if you're in a boat and you're looking at damage and there's water in homes, your wake from your boats as a sightseer could cause more damage to those homes, and we do not need that. So we would ask our boaters to stay off the water. We're also in the process of DNR responding to Florida, and we will have 50 officers with boats and rescue equipment pulling out tomorrow morning to go to Florida to assist our neighbors in Florida. Governor, that's all I have.
Thank you, Colonel. David Wilson with DHEC.
Thank you, Governor. The department has opened 4 special needs, medical special needs shelters in the counties of Colleton, Hampton, Orangeburg, and Sumter. We also are continuing to operate our care line to assist the public and the clients of our health county departments that are closed right now. That care line number is 1-800-868-0404. Again, 1-800-868-0404. We will begin post-storm assessments of high-priority dams across the state as the storm lifts tomorrow. In the interim, we are manning a 24-hour hotline for dam owners to report problems they may have. That number is 803-898-1939. Again, 803-898-1939. Thank you, Governor.
Thank you, sir. From FEMA, Mr. Willie Nunn.
Thank you, Governor.
Yes, sir.
We continue to be focused on the state's priorities of initial response, the also sheltering, reentry, and damage assessments. And we also still co-located here with the team to make sure that whatever requirements that come from Tropical Storm Irma in that flash flooding or any other type storm surge, we're here to make sure that any federal support that's needed, we can provide it. Thank you, Governor.
Thanks, sir. Duke Scott.
Thank you, Governor. As the Governor said, we've got about 146,000 meters out as we came in. SC&G had about 93,000 of those. Duke had about 4,300. Santee Cooper had 1,000. And the electric cooperatives combined had 48,000. The largest outages, of course, would be Charleston would be at 36,629, Beaufort 32,400, Lexington 11,900, and Richland 8,000, and Aiken about 8,000. The crews will be, as he said, we've got thousands of crew people out there, I think over 9,000. You'll see them back out there as soon as it's safe to go back out. There's limitations on when you can use a bucket truck and those types of things. But as soon as they can get back out there safely, you'll see them out there. You'll see them working. We ask you, you're going to appreciate them, but as you'd be better off not trying to take them cookies and stuff. Let them get the work done, then give them the cookies and that type of thing. We've got no issues reported regarding fuel at this time. Thank you, Governor.
Okay, thank you very much. And finally, Department of Social Services, Susan Allen.
Thank you, Governor. The Department of Social Services, along with our partners, the American Red Cross, Salvation Army, the National Guard, SLED, and other law enforcement agencies, are currently supporting 25 general population shelters across the state. As the Governor has already indicated, we have more than 800 residents in those shelters right now, but we have the capacity for over 13,000 shelters. So we would encourage any citizens of South Carolina, if you at all feel unsafe in your residences or uncomfortable in these current weather conditions, that you consider an open shelter as a possible resource for you. But also evacuees from Georgia, from Florida, you're welcome to come to our shelters that are open, and we have the capacity for you now. So we would encourage folks to come to any of our open shelters. Just to make sure our citizens know and are aware of where these shelters are located, I'm going to actually go through each one of them with you so that we can let everyone know which open shelters are available in your area. In Allendale, we have one open shelter at the Allendale Elementary School. In Anderson County, we have one shelter open at the Anderson Civic Center. This shelter was actually open to support evacuees from Georgia, but it's open to anyone that needs shelter during the storm. In Bamberg County, we have one shelter open at the Richard Carroll Elementary School. In Beaufort County, we have two shelters, one at Bluffton High School and one at Beaufort High School. In Calhoun County, we have one shelter at the Calhoun County High School in St. Matthews. In Charleston County, we have two shelters open. They're both on Leeds Avenue in North Charleston at the Coastal Pre-Release Center and in the facility right next door to it, the county facility that's run by Charleston. In Clarendon County, we have three shelters, one at Manning High School, one at East Clarendon High School at Turbyville, and Scotch Branch High School in Somerton. In Colleton County, we have one shelter open at Colleton Middle School. In Jasper, we have one shelter open at Ridgeland High School with a capacity of 1,100. In Kershaw County, we have one shelter open at Camden High School. In Newberry County, we opened a shelter today at 2 o'clock at the Newberry High School. In Orangeburg County, we have 4 shelters open. Those shelters are located at Orangeburg Wilkinson High School, Lake Marion High School in Santee, Hunter Kynard Tyler Elementary at Nieces, and Branchville High School. In Richland County, we have one shelter open at Denton Middle School. In Sumter County, we have one shelter open at Crestwood High School. And finally, in Williamsburg County, we have 4 shelters open. These shelters are at C.E. Murray High School in Greeleyville, Kingstree Senior High, the East Campus, Hemingway High School, and the D.P. Cooper School in Salters. So again, we would just encourage anyone that feels uncomfortable during the storm and is in need of shelter to please consider one of our 25 open shelters as a resource. Our staff stands ready to help any of our evacuees, and you can check that list of open shelters throughout the day on the South Carolina Emergency Division website. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Sir,
Do you mind if I?
please.
Wanted to reemphasize one thing, and this is the safety issue. Stay at your home. Don't get out there and sightsee. Don't go up and down the water in your boat. Director Farr talked about the aquatic rescue teams. All of our aviation is grounded right now because of winds. Director Taylor talked about boat rescue teams. We're talking about swift rising tides that put everyone at risk. Even some of the areas we cannot get high water vehicles in. So what we ask you to do is don't put yourself at risk and don't put our rescuers at risk. We'll try to come get you, but it's going to be a very high risk operation, so please stay home. Thank you, Governor.
Yes, sir. Any questions? Questions?
Yes, you mentioned rescue earlier. Is that the only emergency rescue that's taken place, and can you tell us a little bit more about it?
General? Would you like to start with that?
Well, I'll start. As far as I know, that is the only emergency rescue that we've had. Of course, there may be some things going on in local areas, but Chief, you got anything, or Director Taylor?
As far as I know, that is the only rescue at this time, but information is coming in, and we're expecting all of our officers to be back on the water real soon. There's a lot of high water now, and we'll have better information later.
We saw that one on television, so that's how we know about that one so immediately.
Do we know anything about the erosion that we're facing along the coast?
Well, we know there will be some because these tides are just about precisely as predicted, between 3 to 6 feet or 4 to 6 feet, and it looks like when all the high tides are through and they're a little bit delayed, that is the receding of the tide is delayed because of the winds and the water, the force of the water and the winds, but that will probably be right on the money. And with tides like that, you're always going to have some erosion. Now, how bad it'll be, we don't know. But we're not so much worried about erosion right now as the safety of the people.
For SCDOT, do we know the cause of the road closures? Is it mainly flooding, or is it those trees coming down?
So of the 83 bridges, 83 roadways, about 2/3 of those were caused by trees and about 1/3 caused by water. But as the rain continues to fall, we expect more closures to come into play, and again, go to our website and look for that for real-time information. We have that information online.
Thank you.
Of the National Guardsmen and DNR officers going to assist in Florida, do we know what kind of mission or what kind of work they'll be doing?
From the National Guard perspective, we'll be doing mainly security missions and wellness checks for the people down at this point just north of Tampa.
Colonel Taylor?
From a DNR perspective, we'll be carrying our boating equipment for still high water rescue, especially in those out of the way areas, away from populated areas, along with ATV all-terrain vehicles for rural search and rescue.
Next question.
Do you know when you will talk to the local emergency officials to get a sense of when people can return back to Hilton Head, et cetera?
Yes, ma'am. We've been talking to them nonstop ever since this began for days now, but we can't not give an estimate as to when we will do that at this point, but we'll let you know as soon as we can do so.
If residents come across lights or traffic lights at major intersections that are out, should they contact anybody with certain numbers, or what should they do?
Yes, they should.
Yes, sir. We have a 24-hour hotline. It's Go DOT, Go SCDOT. If you can make the phone call to there, we'll get our signal crews out there. In addition to our bridge inspectors and our road clearing crews, we certainly have our signal crews ready to go as soon as the wind will allow us.
Next question.
Are officials from Florida and Georgia asking you to send a message to evacuees here in the state? Are they requesting that they stay put? Or
Well, we've been trying to do that through the welcome centers as well as through these broadcasts and other information about the availability of shelters and also the road information. Yes. Next question.
Just to confirm, there aren't any fatalities related to Irma?
Not in South Carolina, not that we know of at this time.
And for Director Smith, how about accidents?
As of now, we do not have any storm-related fatalities. We have one of our majors, and his role is to contact the coroners. We've been in contact with the coroners, and as hopefully we won't have any storm-related fatalities. If we do, we will communicate with the coroners, and they will rule it as either storm-related or not storm-related. And if ruled as storm-related, we'll be sure to report that information to you all.
I know that crews can't go out to service power lines at this time until it's safe. Do we have a timeline of when the storm is going to pass and we can start seeing some of those repairs?
No, ma'am, we don't. But we're ready, has been indicated. The personnel all over the state primed and ready to go. And of course, with law enforcement, they're operating right now. Next question.
Do we have any idea how many of the evacuees, this might be for DSS, in the shelters are South Carolinians, and how many have come from Florida and Georgia?
Good question.
I don't have any firm numbers of that, but we are aware that the majority are actually in-state residents as opposed to out-of-state. But we're now actually collecting those numbers so we can give those to the governor, so we'll know exactly what the situation has been so far.
And Governor, we discovered just a few minutes before coming out here, before you all came out here, that a tree had fallen onto an apartment building that you own.
That's right.
In Columbia.
I discovered it too, about the same time you did.
You know, obviously that shows the governor is not immune from the effects of the storm. What have you heard about it, and what's your message for the folks that are staying there?
Well, it's those are college students there, and there's several buildings there, and there's a large oak tree that nobody suspected might fall that did, and it affects two of the apartments, and those people are being accommodated, and we're having the engineers over there and the fire departments over there. But that's what everybody's going to face when a big limb or a tree falls on your property, and it can happen anywhere. We didn't expect that at all because of the size of that tree and the strength of that tree. There's some others we thought we'd see around town that we'd expect to fall. They haven't fallen, but that one did.
As far as you're aware, everyone who lives in that building is safe and accounted for?
Oh yeah, they're safe and accounted for, certainly. Yes.
Would you know if schools are going to be operating on a regular schedule again tomorrow?
That will be, I don't know that we have that precise information, but those are local decisions that will be made by the school districts and the counties. Any more questions? Well, thank you very much for coming. And thank you all, too. Thank you.
be, can't, hold on. It's until 3:15. This is for really the middle of the Tri-County area. This is over the I-5-26 I-26 interchange moving northwest at 30 miles an hour. Radar indicated circulation. I was a little concerned about this one earlier, and it looks like my concerns were valid. So here's your rotation. It's roughly right over I-26 right now. This is going to go right up the gut of I-26. It's going to head towards Somerville and Ladson. So Somerville, Ladson, you're in the polygon. You're at the end of the polygon. You need to take cover now. If you're anywhere in Midland Park, if you're anywhere, if you're anywhere in Hanahan, Aviation Avenue area, everywhere, anywhere, maybe, I would say that if you're in Goose Creek, if you're in Goose Creek, kind of close to Charleston Southern University, if you're in those locations, it's time to take cover now. As what looks to be a very strong area of rotation is moving north of the I-5-26 interchange. This is headed right towards Ladson and Somerville. So again, what we're going to recommend is Ladson and Somerville take cover now. We're going to say take cover now in Ladson and Somerville. So North Charleston, Northwoods, Otranto, Ladson, Somerville. Take cover now. This is Park Circle is it's just missing you. So it's missing you in Park Circle. Beast Ferry Road, you're okay. The warning was extended a little bit further south, but into parts of the Charleston metro. But this is mostly a North Charleston threat at this point. So again, possible tornado radar indicated along I-26, and this is heading towards Ashley Phosphate. This is headed towards this is going to be very near Highway 52, where it takes you to Goose Creek. This is going to be very near Charleston Southern University. This is going to be very near. This actually could go very, very close to Charleston Southern University, which I know they've evacuated the campus, which is a good thing. They closed several days ago, and that's important. But again, anywhere near that area, you need to be getting into shelter. So what is shelter? A tornado shelter, interior room on the lowest floor. Put a lot of walls between you and the tornado. Bathroom, hall closet, something like that works real well. If you're in a mobile home, abandon that mobile home. You don't want to be there. This storm has got a really good looking hook echo right here, and what we're going to do is we're going to take this one step further. We're going to put 4 panels on here, and I would say step further. We're going to put 4 panels on here. Step further. We're going to put 4 panels on here. Thanks a lot. Okay, well, that's cool. We do have, all right, so, well, let's take a minute and talk through kind of everything else going on real quick. But yes, so the tornado warning has been canceled, just in time for me to get my internet access back and getting on Periscope, and that's really sad. Well, it's good news. It's good news for y'all, right? Like, it's great. Like, no tornadoes, yay. And then I get all my stuff, and I'm ready to go back on and do my thing, and womp womp. Although I don't think I'll ever complain about a tornado warning being canceled. But what I'm going to do here for a minute is I am going to stay on, because I do want to look at... we've got a lot of little areas of rotation hanging around. And... all right, so we canceled the tornado warning there. I'm going to go and look at the rotation again. Let's just quickly do a video update as to what our situation is. We have a lot of rain. We have a lot of water coming in. And all right, so the tornado warning is no longer in effect. Tornado warning is out. It was canceled by the National Weather Service literally as soon as I went on air. So great sense of timing on my part there. I lost my internet during the warning, and so we'll go from there. So. But we continue to see lots of very heavy downpours moving through. It looks like we're going to catch a brief break between bands, and then there's going to be another round of bands, and it's going to come through. And then moving in from the south, this is where we're going to want to watch things carefully too. You know, there's still some bands of rain and still tornadoes possible with these rain bands as they move in. The greatest heavy rain potential is going to shift to the north, and over time, but there will be another couple more bands coming through. So again, to clarify, the tornado warning has been canceled. We'll stop this broadcast shortly and get back. But again, I want to make sure everybody knows that the tornado warning is no longer in effect. But that does not mean that there could be another one out there. You know, we go to the velocity of Storm Relative here, and I'm going to need to reset my bearings here. I restarted this software. Wait for it to recalculate. Storm Relative. Yes, here we go. Still some kinks in there, still some rotation out there, and all is well. And you know, all is very busy. We continue to deal with significant flooding concerns in downtown Charleston. The tide is still over 9 feet. We'll be very slow to get out. We're looking at a surge right now of looks like we had a peak surge of just about a little under 4 feet here. And again, the tide right now is at 9.3 feet. And slowly coming down, but we have a significant flood problem in downtown Charleston. We have a very serious situation unfolding. We have a very serious situation unfolding across the Tri-County. We have flooding reports now out of Dorchester. Dorchester Emergency Manager chimed in earlier and said, okay, so we got waist deep at Upper Meeting Street. Yeah, again, like this is a very serious situation across the area. This is flooding like none of us have seen. Okay, I want to make sure that everybody's understanding that. And I want to make sure that everybody understands that this level of flooding, unless you were here for Hugo and unless you were here for the 1940 hurricane, we've never seen. I certainly haven't seen it. I missed Hugo. I was elsewhere. So this is something, and it seems like I say that every year. But so downtown. So somebody mentioned that they better not reopen schools. Well, from what I understand, Charleston County is not committing to opening tomorrow, especially with tropical storm force winds in the area. So I don't anticipate that that's going to be a factor. So anyway, right now, again, looking at the radar and the observations here, we got 70 degrees in Monk's Corner, 72 in Somerville, 75 and 74. Now note too that the wind shifted very quickly to the southeast there, backed a little bit, and that could have been part of that rotation. Winds are now coming right off the ocean. There are just more water piling up. We are still looking at gusts at 50 miles an hour at Charleston Executive Airport on Johns Island. We're up to 35 miles an hour. We are up to 35 miles an hour at Mount Pleasant. Charleston Airport has had a gust of 47 miles an hour in the last hour. So clearly, a very precarious situation continues from a wind and a rain perspective. But yes, as far as tornado warnings, there are no active tornado warnings. You are clear to leave. You're clear to come out of your sheltered areas. There are no active tornado warnings in the Charleston Tri-County area. There is a tornado warning for Beaufort, South Carolina, and for Colleton County, but there is no tornado warnings in effect for the downtown, for the Charleston metro area. Berkeley, Charleston, Dorchester, no tornado warnings in effect. So I want to make sure that that is completely clear. That tornado warning was canceled. That tornado warning was canceled as soon as this broadcast opened. So that is good. We'll zoom in on downtown Charleston, and again, looking at this, we still have a lot of heavy rain moving through. So, again, some people are seeing, the warning text. This is being retweeted out a little bit now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share the broadcast again, and I'm going to share this broadcast and say that, and I'm just going to call it Irma update this time. All right. Because that's what we're going to do here. We're going to do a quick Irma update, and then I'm going to jump off again and get back to Twitter. But it's 3 o'clock, 3:09 p.m. I'm Jared Smith at CHSWX on Charleston Weather on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And we have a pretty significant flooding situation unfolding in downtown Charleston. A flash flood emergency is in effect for downtown Charleston. This means that the water levels are exceptionally dangerous and life-threatening, building threatening. And there are major concerns over everything down there right now. It's a very bad situation. There's been significant flooding in West Ashley. There's been significant flooding elsewhere. And so, again, we are watching this very closely. And the beaches look absolutely rough. There's a tree down at Sailfish on Johns Island. Let me copy this and get this into the Weather Service chat if it'll work. And then Burns Downs. Oh my goodness, this is if you look at CHSWX on Twitter, Burns Downs is really is almost completely flooded. And it's very bad. So we've got lots of reports of blown transformers. And everything else. So there's reports that cranes downtown have been spinning around a little bit. Hopefully they don't pull a Miami. I'm getting questions about when we should start to expect see some of the water receding in West Ashley. The tide is going out at this point. So that's good. The tide is going out, but I would caution you to say that there's still plenty of rain to happen. There's still plenty of rain to come, and so it's going to take a while for this to drain. So we're looking at a high residence time flash flood event across the Charleston metro area. We have flash flood warnings all across the metro. We have flash flood warnings all the way up I-26. Numerous flash flood warnings in effect. All right, so if you live in Beaufort, I have somebody here from Beaufort, and so right now the good news I have for you is that it looks like the tornadic storm is moving to the north of Beaufort, closer to the Colleton County line, on the other side of the river there. So I think you're going to be okay from that perspective. But it's been quite a day. We're starting to get a little bit of a break here, waiting on the next round of bands to come in, and again. Looking at velocity and looking at all these different products here, again, we are still concerned about the potential for rotating storms coming in off the water. The Harbor River is flooded over Sea Island Parkway. All right, so next high tide, will it be as high? The next high tide will not be as high. This was the highest of the two high tides in our diurnal cycle. the surge will have relaxed, which is good, and that's a good thing. And so, you know, again, we have the surge coming up, but there's going to be some residual water. There's going to be some residual water in the area for a while. We're going to have residually high tides for the next few cycles, and so continued potential damages to beaches and everything are still going to be right on the table. Got the rotation product up on the radar here, and again, we've got very strong winds. We still have some cells out there that are spinning, but the 40-foot surge is on. It's still ongoing, but it will, by the time the next high tide comes through, it will gradually back off. Right now, it looks like we're just shy of 4 feet in the harbor as far as storm surge goes, and we'll go from there. Do I think the College of Charleston campus is damaged? I don't think so. And by the way, for those of you in Beaufort and Colleton watching here, the tornado warning will expire on time. The threat is over. You can come out of your safe spots down there. We don't know. It's going to be issues with there. So the next high tide comes up just a little after midnight. And so we're going to want to watch that closely. But again, that high tide is going to be in the 7.5 foot range. It's not going to be 10 feet. It's still going to cause some saltwater flooding. Could cause some more erosion. Again, we have this very strong onshore flow. It's going to stick around for a little bit while longer. And certainly something to be, certainly something to watch. But again, looking at the radar right now, we have a lot of rain continuing to move onshore. The axis of this rain is starting to move into Mount Pleasant. It's starting to move further northeast. So people in Snee Farm now, we're going to start to see some very, Snee Farm, Park West, some very heavy downpours. And that's going to move through. You're going to have additional flooding further north and east. So again, right now, if you've been generally, roughly northeast of 41, you've been doing okay. You've been faring pretty well. But I'm going to tell you that your luck is going to start to run out, and I expect that we'll start to see flash flood warnings issued further up into Ondon, McClellanville this afternoon. And it's possible that there may be additional rotating thunderstorms, possible tornadoes coming through. Again, numerous reports of trees down, numerous reports of power transformers blowing. We have, and of course the flooding situation in downtown Charleston to contend with. It's not over yet by any stretch of the imagination. We still have about 2 or 3 bands to go. The first feeder band is going to be the worst one. We have dry air punching in from the south of the system, and that's going to help to calm things down a little bit. It's going to help to, what that will do is start to erode away some of the heaviest rainfall. However, that being said, sometimes you get this dry air moving in, and this can enhance the tornado threat, especially if a little bit of instability develops. And so again, this is something that we're going to need to watch very carefully over the next few hours. We are under a tornado watch until 10 p.m., and I don't see that changing anytime soon, as we have significant issues with rotating thunderstorms. And in fact, I just put the special marine warning on. This is just south of Edisto Beach with these thunderstorms moving in. And Laura Pavlide's comments in the chat that this is worse than Matthew, and I think the way I've been characterizing this to a few people is that this is Matthew's angry younger sister. Irma is Matthew's angry younger sister, and I think that has borne out. This is a harder, less forgiving hit than Matthew was. Matthew, eventually, we had the winds turn around and blow it out. And that has not happened here, and that's not going to happen for a while yet. So again, we got a while with Irma. Irma's going to be quite a force to be reckoned with here. So again, looking at the velocities right now, nothing really standing out as far as rotation, which is good. Looking at reflectivity, again, just a lot of rain. And rain totals are, I'm going to pull GR3 up so we can get you some information on rain totals across the area. But there are a lot of videos of Charleston underwater. Again, in case you haven't heard, the Folly boat has washed ashore, has washed off its location on along Folly Road, and is currently pinned to a dock. So the Folly boat has come loose. That didn't happen in Matthew. That didn't happen in Matthew. In Matthew, we were at 9.28 feet. This one got to 9.91 feet. 9.918 feet. This is now the third all-time largest tide in the history of Charleston Harbor. So let's let that sink in for a minute. Irma's a beast, folks. So we're expecting the wind to blow straight on shore here for next few hours. And then I'm going to need to, and admittedly, I've been trying to nowcast the event. I haven't had really a good chance to look forward. To be honest with you, I've been so busy working the event that looking forward is a little bit hard. So let me see here. And let me go get look through the routine weather service reports here. Pardon me while this loads. My machine is slowing to a crawl, and I don't think there's a computer fast enough that can deal with all this data that's coming in right now. We are very, it's almost overwhelming, quite frankly. We see a lot of pictures coming in of people standing in the water. We see a lot of people, if people are driving around, that's not cool. If people are driving around barricades, that's not cool. It's not cool at all. So, Laura, to answer your question, Laura's on Folly Beach and wants to know when the winds are going to start shifting around again. We expect to see the winds gradually shift south and then southwest overnight, and into tomorrow morning. So that'll take some of the onshore component out. There's still a little bit of onshore component, but that will get that out of here. Again, rainfall is going to gradually taper off overnight, and by tomorrow it'll be 85, and clouds will be slowly breaking up. Pretty decent late mid-September day tomorrow. In the short term, we are still dealing with significant severe weather, significant impacts from Tropical Storm Irma. And can you imagine what this would have been like if it was a direct hit? I don't even want to think about it. And I had a lot of people getting angry at me, and I'll just speak freely for a minute. I had a lot of people getting angry at me over. We were trying to quote-unquote hype this storm up, but clearly, if anything, I've underplayed it. I feel like I've underplayed it here, and so it's just rough. So let me get Twitter back out, and we'll see what we've got as far as photos and things go from all of y'all. Y'all have been great with your reports, and please continue to send them in. I've not been able to contribute to the Post and Courier live blog as much, but we are doing that at postandcourier.com, working closely with them to help bring you the best possible coverage of Tropical Storm Irma and its impacts on Charleston. Fine folks there, glad to be working with them. And so let me get radar scope down. Let me get Chrome up. Pull Chrome up. If it will let me pull Chrome up, and apparently it still does not want to let me share my Chrome screen, so that's highly unfortunate, even after restarting OBS. So keep an eye on my retweets. I'll make sure to send some of that stuff out. But again, it's not over yet, not by a long shot, and we've got a few more hours of this to go. Still have very heavy rain moving through, still very gusty winds, very gusty onshore winds. Once again, recapping the gusts right now, 48 miles an hour at the airport, 38 miles an hour at JZI, now coming a little out of the north and northeast there. 39 miles an hour at downtown Charleston at the tide station there. 31 miles an hour at Mount Pleasant. So, flash flood warnings continue. Flash flood emergency for downtown Charleston, and this is going to go well into tonight. And it's very bad situation for sure. And we still have a tornado threat. That tornado threat is going to be with us until 10 o'clock. We are under a tornado watch until then, and we'll need to watch this closely. But anyway, for now, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to shift coverage back to Twitter and postandcourier.com. Again, we're going to keep a close eye on whether any more of these storms begin to rotate. Watch my retweets for pictures and videos, and we will have more for you later today. But again, thank you all for watching. I'm Jared Smith at CHSWX on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Charleston Weather signing off for now, and we will talk to you again later today.